Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about ways to save money in the aquarium hobby. I know things are not getting any cheaper, and we want to make sure that we're enjoying the hobby and doing it as cost efficiently as possible. So here are some tips for you that'll hopefully save you a lot of money. Thanks for being here. So thing number one, if you can find a fish swap in your area, that can save you all kinds of money, not just on fish, but on rocks and wood and plants and even fish tank equipment and tanks themselves sometimes. In the Chicagoland area, we've got a number of them. Greater Chicago Cichlid Association, the Greenwater Aquarius Society. We've got the Quad City Swap out in Davenport, Iowa. So there's a lot of swaps in our area, and people come there and they can, like I said, they save a ton of money. A lot of times these swaps are free to get in, and you're going to get really healthy fish usually. So check your area, see if they've got some swaps that you can go to. Along those lines, if you can find a fish club in your area, that can also save you a lot of money. A lot of these swaps are often organized by fish clubs. And when you go to those meetings, a lot of them have what are known as a BAP program, where they award points for members who bring in fish that they have bred. And often the fish that they've bred will go for pennies on the dollar at these fish clubs. We have gotten a lot of fish, a lot of healthy fish from the fish club meetings, and it is a great way to save money and learn a lot more about fish, and that can save you money as well. The more you know, the less mistakes you're going to make, the fewer mistakes you're going to make, and that can help save money. Next thing to consider is when you do have to purchase something, buy in bulk if it's possible. And so I'm talking especially about your hardscaping materials, things like gravel and sand and wood and rocks, and yes, even fish. A lot of times, even if you go to your local fish store and say, hey, listen, I would love to have chili rasboras. I noticed you've got a dozen here, but I'm looking to have like 40 or 50. Can you cut me a better deal if I buy 40 or 50 fish from you as opposed to just buying 5 or 6? And usually they're going to be able to accommodate you. So look to buy things in bulk, even if you don't need them right away, especially when it comes to sand and gravel and rocks and wood. If you can buy the stuff in bulk, set it aside, maybe put it in your garage, put it in a closet somewhere, and then you'll have it when you need it. That can save a lot of money. It's often cheaper to buy a 50-pound bag of sand than it is to buy a 5-pound bag of sand. And speaking of sand, this is a place where you can save a lot of money on your substrate. It is not uncommon for sand and gravel to be anywhere from $1 to $2 a pound at your pet store. Pool filter sand is a great way to save money. Usually you can get a 50-pound bag for around $10. And so that's going to save you a tremendous amount of money. For gravel, look at places like your big box stores, like your Menards, your Home Depot, your Lowe's, these home improvement stores. A lot of times they are selling pea gravel. That is pretty much the exact same thing that they're selling at the pet store, but for a whole lot less. And it's not uncommon to be able to find a 50-pound bag of gravel. And again, only pay $10 or $15 as opposed to paying $40 to $50 at a pet store. Another option is black diamond blasting sand. A lot of people in our clubs use that sand. As the name implies, it is a black sand. Be a little careful here. Sometimes it can be a little bit sharp, and so for your cory cats and your loaches, it might not be the best option. Go ahead and check the brand. Make sure it doesn't have a real sharp, coarse feel to it. But this sand typically goes for around $10 to $15 for a 50-pound bag. Something else to consider, rocks. Rocks are one of the most expensive things that you are going to put in your aquarium. Often at a pet store, they can go anywhere from $3 to $5 per pound, and that can add up really quick, especially if you have a larger tank. So the way around that, check out your local landscaping places. Often the rocks there are going to be far cheaper, and they still have a relatively large selection. So things like flagstone and river rock. Even sometimes they'll carry dragonstone and Cerise stone. This can save you a ton of money. A lot of times, especially for the river rock, you might only be looking at 20 to 30 cents per pound. Flagstone, same thing. And you can add a lot of that rock, and it's not going to break the bank, and it's especially important for those larger aquariums. Some of the landscaping places around us have an enormous selection of different types of rock. You know, another thing to consider when it comes to rocks, use lighter rocks. A lot of times, again, they're priced per pound, and so things like lava rock and even some of the flagstone, sometimes that's going to be a little bit lighter, and when you're just looking for a volume and bulk, those lighter rocks can save a little bit of money. Something that we've done in our fish room, and I'm going to put a video in the upper right-hand corner as well as in the description below if you want a lot more information, and that is we, on the other side of the fish room, we filter the entire fish room using one pump and a whole lot of sponge filters. And so if you're getting into a situation where you've got a lot of aquariums and they're all running hang-on backs or they're all running canister filters, well, take a look at possibly optimizing that setup. You can buy one pump, a bunch of sponge filters, and that's going to save you a lot of money long term. Not only that, it's going to save you a ton of money on energy, and that's the other thing that you really want to look at when keeping fish. It takes energy to run your filters, to run your lights, to run your heaters, and especially the heaters. If you are in a situation where you can keep most of your aquariums in one room, like for us, we've got the gallery behind me, we've got the fish room on the other side of our basement. This room right here is cooking right now at about 82 degrees. That's right, 82. But we don't have to run any heaters in any of our tanks, and long term, that is saving us an unbelievable amount of money because we've got 30 aquariums on the one side of our fish room. We've got 5 more large aquariums here. And so those 35 aquariums, the room itself is warm enough to keep all of these tanks right around 77 to 78, maybe 79 degrees at times, depending on where they're at. That can save a whole lot of money. By the way, if you are looking to save money on energy, definitely consider, if you haven't already done this, I'm sure most of you have, but going to LED lights, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on LED lights. Some of the LED lights that are out there, like the Hygers and the Night Crews, they don't cost a lot of money, but you can even go less expensive than that. We did a full video on how to choose lights. I'll put that video in the upper right hand corner as well as in the description below. We kind of break them down by price point, but you've got the shop lights that you can get from Lowe's and Home Depot and Menards. As long as you make sure the color spectrum is something that you're going to enjoy. Sometimes those things come in 6 feet lengths, really cost effective for your 6-foot tanks. And especially if you've got maybe a couple 20 longs, you're going to set them side by side. You can use one light instead of buying 2. Amazon sells LED strips. Those can be really cheap. Not only that, but you often can adjust the intensity and the color spectrum in those LEDs. That can save you a lot of money. Next thing, and this is more of a minor thing, but if you are covering your aquariums, especially if you've got odd-sized tanks, take a look at the polycarbonate lids instead of using glass. I did a video on that before. I'll put it in the upper right-hand corner as well as in the description below. But this polycarbonate can save you a lot of money, and it's not breakable like the glass lids are. And so that's a great way to save money. And finally, when you are choosing your fish, if there are fish that you choose that you can breed, well, why not make money on that as well? And so you're getting, I guess, a double win. It's a win-win for everybody. You've got fish you love, they're breeding, and then you can sell those fish or trade them to the pet store for fish food. And by the way, we did a whole video on fish that are going to be really awesome to breed. Check out that video in the upper right-hand corner as well as in the description below. But those are some ways you could save money. Would love to hear from you in the comments section below. What are other ways that you save money? And if you want more money-saving tips, check out the video in the upper right and lower right-hand corners. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one.